All right, and we are back. 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 Welcome. All right, and we are back. And today we're back with another reaction video. And I feel like we're definitely turning this into a mini series here. But we're back with another chat history video. And this one is why you wouldn't survive in ancient Greece. Now, once again, I am about to prove to you why I actually would survive in ancient Greece. And I would actually try to save some of you. But I do have to save the ones who subscribe. So make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And if you haven't already, make sure you also subscribe to Chat History. He makes incredible content. I love the content here. And yeah, I love the back and forth we're going with here. He's making the videos because he knows that I would actually survive. That's why he's saying you wouldn't survive. He's talking about you, not me. So if you haven't already, make sure you go check out Chat History. Link will be in the description below, guys. But yeah, let's go ahead and get right into it. I love these videos, but I do have to mention this. I mean, I rarely ever say it, so I do have to bring it up at least once. If you guys don't like, comment, and subscribe, more importantly, subscribe. That's the most important thing. YouTube will come through that door right over there, and they will. Chat History, why you wouldn't survive in ancient Greece. Guys, I know, I gotta pause it already. I love the Zelda references. Again, shout out to Chat History. It's like he makes the videos for me.
Yeah, that witch is becoming a real problem. This time, you've been sent into ancient Greece, specifically the classical era. Okay. A time of great war and conflict, but also a remarkable leap forward in human civilization. Okay. So, can you survive one of humanity's greatest expansions?
Of course.
Or will ancient Greece mop the floor with you?
No. I got this, bro. Don't worry, I got this.
Let's find out. Greece's classical period began in 510 BC when Athens fell and broke its Hippias, and ended in 323 BC when Alexander was no longer great. As an act of kindness, you've been sent to the funny year. But there's nothing funny about needing...
Hey, guys, if you know me, you know this is the year I succeed. So, like, hey, I already got a plan. Bro, I'm about to be so good in this year. They're going to be like, oh my gosh, like, you should just be the new emperor. And I'm going to be like, guys, I don't really want to be emperor, but I'll settle for just being super rich. And I definitely take the bathrooms. Y'all got the bathroom set up? And if they don't, I'm going to show them how I want the bathroom set up. And then they're going to be like, oh, he's an architectural genius. And it's like, if you say that, you know, I might know where to flow where to make it flow to, you know. I'm gonna have some guys with me, you know, some like smart people, the smartest people around. I'm gonna like get them to hang out with me and stuff. Year 420, I already know how we're chilling. So like, you know, y'all get it. I'm gonna be like, I'm not gonna be the emperor, but I will just be super rich and famous.
To survive. The first thing you need to do is dust yourself off and get your bearings. Maybe a sign or something will help.
Yep.
Well, that's no use. You quickly recall your vast knowledge acquired from countless hours on GeoGuessr and look around for some notable landmarks. After all, some of these buildings...
Hey, shout out to the GeoGuessr guy. Yo, I always think like, man, maybe I'll send a photo to the GeoGuessr guy, but I know he's going to find out exactly where I am. He's going to find out where I am, where I sent the photo from, like where I live after, like how far I went to go get the photo taken. Like he's going to have all that mapped out, and I'm not ready for all that. I just want him to see, I just want to see if he know where some random, you know, tree is, and he's going to find it, and that's going to be a problem. So it's going to be like, dang, I'm not trying to get doxxed over, you know, trying to, you know, outdo him.
Still exists in the modern day. Well, there's a familiar sight right over there on the horizon. The Acropolis of Athens. That's in Athens.
Okay.
I must be in Athens. Well, now you know where you are, which means you can start figuring out your next steps for survival. Ooh.
Drake. It's the Isles, guys. Get it? You get it. You guys get it.
But first, you need someone to talk to because you're gonna need help. There's never any shame in asking for help. That guy over there seems friendly enough. Although shorter, the dude is absolutely ripped from his labor-intensive chores and looks like
This feels like a death count. Let's see.
he could kill you in one punch, but you approach him anyway.
Yeah, see, I see. I already knew that was coming. This is why I would have survived. I wouldn't have just went up to him. I would have went up to somebody else, but then he would have saw me being cool, and he would have came up to me and not killed me. He would have came up to me to be like, "Sir, can I work for you?" And I would have been like, "Yeah, sure. You could be my bodyguard. Show me around the town right quick. Then that's guys. This is the problem. You just went up to that guy. He was chilling. You don't interrupt him when he's chilling. He might be like a slave, gladiator, anything. Who knows? Don't interrupt the man when he's chilling.
Told you. Now let's assume he's a bit more approachable this time. You begin to ask him a question, but like a monolingual American, you always forget that there are other languages out there besides the freedom one. But you try your best. Here it goes.
See, this would, and if you guys remember the first video, editor put it somewhere around there. Obviously, the language thing would be the problem, but here's how I get around that. I teach them the language. Now I'm teaching them English. It's going to translate over super easy because they're already Greek, which means they're already a little bit more adapted to what the the language tree of English would have come from. They're like, "Oh, I've seen Germanic, I've seen some Anglo-Saxon, bam, I already got them. You know what the letter A is? Cool. Do you know what the dollar sign is? Capitalism, has it been invented yet? No? Okay, let me show you something. And then I invent capitalism. Now I'm super rich." Like, guys, it literally doesn't get any easier than traveling back to ancient Greece. Like, ancient Egypt, that was like stage 2. It would have took a little bit more time to become pharaoh. In that situation, you do want to become pharaoh. But in this situation, you don't want to actually become emperor because, it's a lot more dangerous. It's a lot easier just being rich and famous in ancient Greece. You're going to have a good time. They got a lot of good areas. You'll see some beaches and have a lot of fun. And you don't got to worry about people trying to murder you all the time. So, like, again, I'm just going to invent capitalism and then teach everybody English. Like, it sounds, as some of you guys are like, "Oh, how are you going to do that?" Guys, you don't think I can teach people English? Like, you don't think there's people who don't speak English watching this video learning English from me right now? Why do you think I enunciate so properly? Like, I'm teaching them English as we speak, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey man, can you help me out here? The man turns his chiseled jaw your way and begins to speak, quickly bombarding you with a bunch of indiscernible mouth sounds that completely fry your brain. But luckily, the words have been displayed in a big old bubble next to his head. Look at all them silly letters. Wait a minute, you say, scratching your chin. I've seen these letters before. Just then, you get a flashback to your college girlfriend's sorority dorm where you found the Euclidean letters. Just as you were...
That's hilarious. He said Euclidean letter. That's hilarious.
finding Herclidean. Don't kid yourself. You were doing math homework, you goober. Unfortunately, you come to the realization that knowing just a few letters doesn't mean jack shit in terms of understanding a whole language. Now, some of you modern Greeks out there might lift your hairy arms and say, "Ha, I can speak Greek, I'd survive." Well, you're wrong. Ancient Greek is completely different from modern Greek with completely different tones.
See, yeah, and this is where I'd have the advantage over even Greek people because I'm just going to completely ignore all of that and teach them English. So once again, he starts talking the stuff to me and I'm like, okay, I'm nodding my head, right? Because, the body language stuff is universal. So I'll just nod my head, and be like, "Okay, I got you. See. And then I might talk a little Spanish to him, like, "Hola, senor." I might throw in a little Spanish in there for no reason. But, he's going to learn multiple languages that day. And I don't know, you're asking me how is it going to happen? That's the real thing. And I'm telling you, it's going to happen. Like the way it happens, it's like you can't fully question that right now. You just have to believe in me cuz I believe in me, and you know, if again, I'm eventually it's going to be the best for all of us cuz I'm going to help you guys. If you're also trapped here, because you're not going to know how to do all this stuff, you're not going to be able to like teach people English and stuff. You know, it's going to be too much for you. So I'm gonna do that for you. Don't worry, don't worry. And yeah, it's gonna be perfectly fine. So I'm just gonna teach them the English language and all the stuff, and I might throw a little bit of extra languages in there. You know, I might teach them like, you know, again, some reason if they learn in like English and then they also know some Spanish words, it was because of me. This is if it was real though.
Local inflections and pronunciations across
Let's see.
several regional dialects.
Let's see how he
Ancient
does
Greeks
it.
wouldn't understand a word of modern Greek, so you'd have no real advantage. Needless to say, you're not going to be communicating anytime soon, at least not orally. You begin attempting some charades as a way to express your needs. Too bad all of your wacky waving is perceived as a threat. Man, that's twice.
See. That's the problem. That's where a lot of you guys would mess up, because a lot of you guys are gonna start doing random stuff like pointing to your mouths and weird stuff like that. Like I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I'm doing like, yeah, huh? What was that? Huh? Huh? You know, I'm pointing to my ear. I'm like doing this. I'm like, you know, hello, hello, hello. I'm teaching them how to shake hands and stuff because they might not. So here's the thing: they might not know about the shaking hand. And actually, no, I'm gonna teach them how to do the like the, you know, the pounded stuff. You know, and it's not gonna look like a fist. I know you're gonna be like, oh, that's like a fist. It's a threat. No, they're gonna see how chill and relaxed it is. Because when you start it off from low. When you start off low, I know the camera might not fully show it right now, but when you show it off low, and then bam, they're gonna understand it. So you guys are gonna get punched in the face, and that's probably gonna count to like the death count because they could punch really hard back then. They all do physical labor, ain't no like typewriters and people who just do tech support over there. So yeah, they're all gonna be like knocking you out, One Punch Man style. But me, I'm gonna know how to communicate because you know it's like I'm already expressive with my hands anyway. So now it's gonna just be up to the nth degree. Like I'm gonna be like, oh man, you know, whoa, everything I do is gonna have a little to it, you know, So they're gonna understand it, and y'all gotta like watch me, or you're gonna be actually screwed. It's not gonna be fun for you guys if you aren't thinking like me.
Since you just insulted a random citizen and are an obvious outsider, you're arrested
Exactly.
and sold into slavery.
Boom.
Looks like you've
Oh
been
my
slammed to the
gosh.
bottom of the societal barrel.
Oh, guys, you guys are in slavery now. Guys, you guys are in slavery now. That's crazy. That's insane. I told y'all to stop it. And now you're a slave. All right, I can save you guys, but only the people who subscribe to the channel. Again, I can't just go around saving every single slave. I'm not going to become emperor, so I'm not trying to get that responsibility, but I will become a rich civilian so I can help a lot of you slaves out. But again, only the subscribers. If you guys don't subscribe, you have to live the life of a slave. Sad stuff. Sad stuff.
What did you expect? Speaking of society,
Oh my gosh, society.
like any society in history, ancient Greece operated under a hierarchy. Since you just got dunked into classical Athens, let's focus on that. Here, there were four main groups. The upper class were the elite, the cream of
Okay.
the crop, and we all know that the cream rises to the top.
I love that. I love that. So this is where I'm gonna be at, guys. I'm gonna be chilling here with the aristocrats and stuff. Like again, I'm not gonna be emperor, but I will be hanging out where all the stuff is clean and everything's nice. And you know, that's where I'm gonna try to help out a lot of you guys. So I'm gonna be somewhere around here, like the aristocrats, the top of the tier, hanging out with Macho Man Randy Savage himself. I don't know what you guys are going to be doing though. I'm sure maybe one of you guys may be with me, but that's the ones who I bring with me, you know, when I go hang out with them. I'm like, hey, this guy used to be a slave. He's no longer, he's with me now. And they're going to be like, oh, okay. Because they're going to know English by then. Because I'm already going to teach them English. And you guys wouldn't have done that. So, that's why I get to be around them. And I'm going to choose not to be emperor. That's the difference. I'm going to be like, emperor, no, you keep doing your thing, bro. I'm teaching English. And I'm going to teach them the word bro. I'm teaching them slangs, too.
To be a part of the upper class was a birthright. You must have been born in Athens to a moderately or highly wealthy family.
Yeah, that's what happens to a lot of you guys. But for me, I was time traveled there, so I get to be an aristocrat automatically. It's a time travel thing, and teaching them English thing. So, like, yeah, it happens.
Be well educated. And a guy. The members of this class were the only ones that held any
Hey, sorry. Sexism is still a huge thing back then. So, like, obviously, I do still count. And I know some of you guys are going to be like, oh, well, you're black. And I'm going to be like, guys, do you not see it's like who I am, though? Like, and also, I don't know what their type of slavery was like back then. I don't think it was automatically you're black and you're a slave. So, again, they were a lot more racially diverse throughout history. It's just not, it doesn't just translate well to movies because people don't know history. So again, I would be perfectly fine. And then I would also be teaching them English. I'd be so rich. I'd like this right here, what we're looking at, this would be like my backyard really, after I'm done with all the doing really cool teaching them type stuff.
Political power and the only ones classified as citizens. That being the case, the upper class controlled all social and economic policies as well as law.
Yeah.
As a democracy, 500 citizens were chosen at random each year to run the government, given complete control over the proposal of new policies and laws. Kind of like an oligarchy. These policies were either accepted or rejected by popular vote. Next was the middle class, usually referred to as the medics. They were all the dudes who weren't born in Athens but still lived there. Foreign skilled laborers such as craftsmen.
Hey, this where a lot of you guys would be placed by me. I'd make sure you guys get a good medic job, like a good, living nice, you'd feed your families every day. So that's cool.
Merchants and artists. These guys built ships, constructed buildings, and kept the city maintained. Sure, they didn't have a lot of rights like the ability to own land or vote in governmental affairs, but they were the core of the Greek economy. A thing that barely exists today. Oh yeah, women were also part of the middle class. Not many rights outside of being in charge of the house and raising the kids. Ancient Greek society wasn't too fair to women. The lower class, or the freedmen, were exactly who you think they were. Come on. It's right there in the name. Okay. They were freed men, former slaves who bought their own freedom through intensive labor and saving. They pulled themselves up by their sandal straps and worked hard their whole life, only to have little to no rights or place in society. But hey, at least they aren't smelly slaves anymore.
True. And you know what? I'm the type of aristocrat that still, I respect all the freemen. I'm even showing I'm showing respect to the slaves. I almost said I was going to show some respect to the slaves. Guys, I'm not like that. I would show respect to the slaves. But also I would understand that the slaves who I knew were the ones who didn't subscribe to the channel. So like if I see you speaking English and you're like, oh, I subscribed, and I'm like, I don't know. I gotta recheck. Let me know let me figure out the username when we get back to our time, 2,000 years from now. Let me see. But for right now, I knew that person definitely subbed. Get them on out of here. No more slavery for them. And it's like, boom, now you're up. You could at least be one of these guys, but if not, if you're not a freedman, again, I'm bumping you up to medic. You guys are not becoming aristocrats, though. Stop asking me. No, you cannot come to the aristocrat parties. They are already packed. I'm sorry. There are other aristocrats there. Make it on your own. You could be a medic. Just be a medic. Be happy with that.
Slaves were lower than dirt in the societal hierarchy and weren't even considered a class. They were usually captured prisoners of war or purchased from former traders. Slaves were either owned by families as house servants or by the government outright for general labor, which came in all kinds of flavors. Farmers, bankers, soldiers, employed friends with benefits, police, all kinds of stuff. Imagine being arrested by a slave. Sir, you have the right to remain silent. Huh, well, at least I have rights. Slaves made up about a third of the population and were an absolute gold mine for their owners. Profit margins are pretty healthy when you don't have to pay them much. Or at all. Speaking of gold mines, that's where you're headed. Time to get branded and get a move on.
Nice. Cool. See, now you guys gotta go to the mines. So now I gotta go to the mines just to figure out which ones you are, because you decided to, you know, point out your mouth and get punched in the face by that guy and then turned into a slave. Like, all this could have been avoided if you just like listen to every single thing I said, subscribe to all of my content, you know, share all the content as well, and this will all be avoided when we inevitably get, you know, sent back in time. I know some of you are like, oh, it's just a video, it's not gonna happen. Better safe than sorry. You better start listening now and then subscribing, so that way you don't become part of the labor force.
You're swiftly carted off to join a group of miners so large it would cause a YouTube elite to start sweating. Oh man, looks like all the cool slaves have been sent to the surface mine to get gold and silver. But since your mining level sucks, you get to go underground for some cuprum. That's copper. Working in a mine was brutal. Slaves were subjected to intense labor all day, working in poorly ventilated and swelteringly hot cave systems hundreds of feet deep in the earth.
Really? Really? You really put the Hussein one there? That's pretty funny, though. That's actually pretty funny.
Illuminated only by dim oil lamps.
I was gonna say, y'all not really getting any light for real. Like, it's gonna be almost pitch black.
You can't see shit, which means
there's gonna be animals.
Your fellow slaves can't see jack shit. So watch out for rogue pickaxes.
Yeah.
You toil away day in and day out for a while now, but notice that, like the rock around you, you're getting chiseled. The combination of your new Mediterranean diet and constant physical exertion starting to pay off. You're able to mine more efficiently, and you're outperforming your coworkers. Thanks to all of your hard work and dedication, the local mine supervisor rewards you with more backbreaking work.
Yeah.
Looks like you gotta add your pride to the list of things getting crushed around these parts. You're working hard and gaining some gains, but you need to start finding a way out of here soon.
Okay.
You see, the life expectancy for miners was only a few years. With hazards like coal dust, lead exposure, and cave-ins, it was a quick way to have your lifespan get completely rocked. Ah, jeez. Looks like
being a miner even in like the 1800s was super dangerous, and you know, you had to be like, you know, they had to make kids do it just so they can have some people that can work for 10 years, you know? It's like by the time they're 20, it's like, oh my gosh, you know, they looking like they're 80. That's why people used to look so old back then. Working in a mine.
Atticus is showing signs of a fever, and Pucus over there, he's earning his namesake. You ask your buddy Atlas what the heck's going on, to which he responds, looks like they all caught some sort of
disease. Oh yeah. You guys are, you know, if you're unvaxxed, I'm sorry. You know, you got to get vaxxed before you go back in time, because once you go back in time, then you're left to all their back in time, like stuff that they used to do. And it's not going to be the most effective stuff. You know, again, look how many people are dying back then. If you're using their medicine, hey, what do I even tell you at that point, bro? Hey, you know, do you know any new medicines? Do you know how to like make freaking with some good stuff? Anything? You know, how do you make acetaminophen? Acetaminophen? Yeah. How do you make that? You know, I can make Advil. You know, what's that stuff? You can get it from like a tree or something. You can get a lot of stuff from like tree barks and stuff, but you know, we didn't know about a lot of this stuff until back then. Can you invent penicillin? You know, invent penicillin right quick. I'd probably do that, even though, guys, I'm allergic to penicillin, but I'd still invent it for the people. You know, I'd invent penicillin. I'd make sure you guys all have it available. I would call it something a little bit better, but that's just me. Think of another name for penicillin, because that's what I would have invented.
No matter where you throw a dart on the board of history, diseases were always in the spotlight. Perhaps the most common in classical Greek times were smallpox, influenza, and measles. Luckily for you, your parents love you and got you vaccinated when you were just a wee babby, right? Of course, otherwise you'd look like this. But ancient Greeks weren't so lucky. It was pretty common for outbreaks to be spontaneous and run rampant, killing off people by the thousands. And what kind of disease discussion would it be without the mention of the plague? Yeah, the plague showed up in ancient Athens right around 430 BC, 10 years before you arrived. During that time, it eradicated between 75 to 100,000 people, or about a quarter of the city.
See, you'd be one of those 100,000 Greekaroos, and it's unfortunate because, like, again, get vaxxed before we go on the random trip back in time. But also, if you're not, do you know how to invent anything? You know, invent something. I'm inventing penicillin. What are you guys inventing? You know, you can try to invent something, but you got to comment down below what medicine you try to invent. Again, I'm 100% inventing penicillin. I know how to do it. I haven't done it yet, but like I could. You know, the guy who did it on accident. The guy who did it on accident. You think I can't do it on purpose? Come on, guys. Guys, whoever's about to comment that, stop typing right now. You don't know what you're talking about. You don't know. You're about to type in the comments, oh my gosh, you'll never invent penicillin. You don't know the first thing about inventing penicillin. The guy who did it on accident. How about that? How about that? Yeah. Look at you right now. And you're just looking at your keyboard like, oh my gosh, why was I about to type that? I was about to type some nonsense. And then I remembered to continue watching the video. And then he completely proved everything he just said. Oh my gosh, he's facts. Somebody about to type in facts right now. Oh my gosh. Make sure you do the timestamp. Facts.
City's population. The plague comes in 3 flavors: bubonic, pneumonic, and septicemic, and strawberry. They're all basically the same thing, but affect you
you're about to get the septicemic one because that's going to make you poop out of your butthole
in different ways. Bubonic was the most common, as it's
at least that's what I'm assuming, and I'm probably right.
Kind of stage 1 of the plague. Usually transferred from a flea giving you a little nibble, the plague is a bacterial infection that just penetrates your cells and fills them with toxins, killing them. This will also cause you to have a fever, the chills, and make you generally feel like shit. Your body will also start getting polluted with bumpy boils. If left untreated, the infection can spread to your blood, where it upgrades to septicemic plague. This is when parts of your body get the rot and start to turn black, causing severe pain as well as more frequent, unprovoked traffic stops. If the infection gets into your lungs, that's when it's classified as pneumonic plague. You begin coughing like crazy, and your respiratory system starts to fail. And that's no good. Luckily, doctors at the time relied less on the big guys in the sky for help and decided to take matters into their own hands, establishing and developing the concept of medical treatment. It was widely believed that the key to a healthy life was to consume healthy foods like fruits, veggies, nuts, meats, and dairy, not to mention plenty of exercise. Crazy thought, right? But if you did get the ick, there were a few solutions. The most common was blood.
See? Look what you got yourselves into. Now you're sick and you got to get bloodletted. You got to get some leeches on you or something, or they're just gonna they're just gonna cut a part of you and just like let your blood just come out until you're like feeling better. Good luck. Have fun with that. Have fun with that life, getting bloodletted. This is what you got to deal with now. This is you. Look at you. Now you got to get bloodletted. Come on, bro. Come on.
Bloodletting. Look, you're just a big walking blood sack. And since you're sick, that means you've got time to get rid of that. Thanks, Doc. I feel so... Other treatments were often natural remedies like herbs, soups, teas, and honey to heal your little stomach. But anyway, you're safe because you're vaccinated, which means that you...
Yeah, see? He didn't even tell you about the other stuff you got to do. You know, there's definitely going to be something where you or someone else, they're going to put a finger inside of that blood, inside of your body. They're not really going to, this is early medicine, guys. They're not really good at this stuff yet, They're not experts. They don't know what diseases are for real. They have the concept of it, but they're like, I don't know. Maybe you just need to cut out some of your blood. I don't know. Maybe we just need to make sure all your blood is gone and then you'll just get new blood. And What about the wound? I don't know. We'll do something about that later. You know, how does that not get infected? Bam! Now you got to cut. Did they even wash off the knife? You know, they probably just like use. You know, like, oh, I'm just all I did was cut somebody else's blood. I'll just cut your blood, blood on blood. What's wrong with that? They don't know about transfers, all that stuff. Come on, man. They haven't invented blood transfusions or nothing. They don't know about none of that stuff. That's where I'm coming in. Now I got to invent all that. So I just thought about it. I actually have to invent modern medicine now. So, like, I don't want to become emperor, but it's looking like I'm gonna be like have to become emperor because now I got a lot of stuff to do. I got to make sure to invent modern medicine, teach people English, invent capitalism, help out some of the slaves that subscribe, only the ones who subscribe, and then also like just make life all around better. They gotta have flushing toilets. I don't want some random stuff. I want to make sure it's cool. I gotta invent stuff. So it's like, I gotta get compensated for that.
You're the sole survivor of a recent outbreak, and you really like trains. Guess you're a free man now. Being very free and very man means that you now have access to education. Sorry, ladies, you're gonna have to wait a while before you learn good. Time to hit the books.
Ah, man.
Now that your yearning for the mines is now a yearning for learning, it's time to trade your physical gains for mental ones. Ancient Greece had a wealth of educational resources, including public and private schools, personal tutors, intellectual lectures, and a recent invention: books. Books started showing up around the 5th century. It was a great way to record down your stories and lectures without having to memorize them. But some pretentious Greek geeks like the famed philosopher Socrates believed that books would be the downfall of society, as people would just write things down rather than commit knowledge to memory. But imagine this.
You see how people have always been the same? You see how nothing has ever changed throughout history? Like literally ever? The times have changed. The minds have not. We are still these same people to this day. There's somebody with that bald spot right now. You see this guy, both of these guys? You see these two guys? There are people whose hairlines are just like that to this day. Time has not stopped that, ladies and gentlemen. I say that to say this. That's the same thing people would say about TVs, radios, phones, tablets, iPad, whatever whatever's going to be the thing, people are going to say that. It's just a thing that people say. Everything's the downfall of stuff. Books used to be the haven of knowledge. Now it's like, TVs, who's going to read books anymore? But back then people were like, books? Oh my gosh, you get books. Who's going to just know things? Now it's just like, oh, I want to know some stuff. I got to go to this guy. Oh, what if this guy's not around me? Well, I guess you're just not going to know that thing. That's how you sound. That's how dumb it is. The whole concept of that stuff. Things change. Grow with the times or get out the way.
If you wanted to learn a story or a bit of information, you had to catch Rheticus on a Tuesday afternoon next to a fountain in the park, but you showed up a little bit late and missed half the story. Yeah, can you rewind like 10 minutes, please? Found a really good Euro spot. You want some? More for me. You attend several lectures and slowly learn to read and write the local dialect, Attic Greek. Not to be confused with Basement Greek. Although they were rare, you managed to find a small public library to see if there's anything interesting, when something catches your eye. Oh, no way.
Oh no, you gotta travel back in time.
What the fuck? Like I said, I'd survive.
Yeah. That's me. I'd survive. So, guys, I feel like that was acknowledgement of myself. He knows that I would actually survive. Like, chat history knows that I personally would survive these situations. He added this little character in here just for me, bro. I appreciate it so much. Like, I know that you know that I would survive. And you know what? Chat history, you'd survive too, bro. I believe in you. You know what? I think you'd survive. Now, I don't know if you'd just become an aristocrat automatically like myself, but, stranger things have happened. Like, obviously, I myself will be traveling in time and becoming an aristocrat. I'll just explain to you all how. It's so easy but it's also difficult. So don't think that you could do it out of everybody. Just know that I would. You're not inventing penicillin. I'm inventing penicillin. And then also, you're not inventing the English language for these people. You're not like revamping their whole society. I will be, but don't worry. So, guys, with that being said, if you made it this far, I do want to say thank you. As always, guys, if you have any other recommendations for videos, make sure to comment them down below. If you have any funny moments or anything, make sure you put the little timestamp on them. That'll be fun for making shorts and everything. But yeah, guys, as always, I do want to say thank you. I love you. Bye.